Hey, Jeff.
Yes.
Hey, this is Matt from WMCT. How's it going?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Hey, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes. I know you're probably busy doing a bunch of other stuff, so I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
So how have
What's
you?
going on?
No, not
Everyone
much.
healthy? How you doing?
Yeah, everyone's doing very well with my family. My mom's actually
Good.
a respiratory therapist at a hospital, and she's been tested and she's doing well. I have a
Oh,
part-time
wow.
job. I have a part-time job at an assisted living facility, so they've had me get tested
Ugh,
recently, and I came back negative too. So everyone's doing real well.
wow.
Yeah,
Good.
everyone's
Good. Glad to hear it.
yeah
Same here.
yeah
Same here.
good good. So you and the family, everyone's good. Everyone's been holding up pretty well.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can, make the most of it.
Absolutely, I know
Yeah,
it's
it's a lot of house projects that I usually don't get to in springtime or any season actually. So I think I've had about enough of them. I wish I was back out on the field.
I'm sure. I'm sure. That's the case for a lot of people now. Everyone's home, cooped up. They at least want to be able to get outside and do some house projects. Which house projects have you done?
Yep. So let's see. We have we've painted lights on the outside of our house. Our yard is looking as good as it's ever looked. We cut out trees and added trees and flowers and grass, you name it, to the outside, and then inside we've basically started painting, and my wife's a little crazy, so we're doing a lot of things.
Oh, that's great. Hey, you got the time available to do it right now. You might as well get as much of it done as possible, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's cool. But as far as like work is concerned, obviously you're not on the fields, you're not right there communicating with student athletes and coaches and whatnot. So how has your work routine changed now that you're forced to work from home?
Yeah, it's actually been a challenge. I mean, it's to me, I'm more the in face. I meet with my coaches, all the time during the season. Literally every day. I talk to kids every day. It's my favorite part of the job is being involved with the kids. So all this telecommuting and that kind of thing, and Zoom and Google Meets is not for me. So that's made it difficult. But it's almost like we're working a lot harder because you're trying to make sure that we've got everything covered to give the kids the best experience you could give them without actually being out on a field. For instance, yesterday was Memorial Day, which is Marlborough Hudson plays baseball and softball on Memorial Day for as long as I can remember.
Right.
It's a tradition, and obviously no games. And if it's our home game, it's usually we do it as our senior day for softball. So our softball coach and I went to the 5 seniors' houses, and she had made them posters and balloons, and kind of took pictures just to give them a little special day. So I mean, it's got to be a tough day for them not playing on Memorial Day and then not playing Hudson. So just trying to do things like that just to recognize the kids. Also, we went out and put signs in all the seniors' yards as a school, and I made sure that I tried to get as many of the athletes as I could. My assistant Nikki and I had 35 signs to deliver, and all 35 were athletes. So obviously we couldn't get every athlete, but we got as many as we could. So we're just trying to do things to give them as good an experience as we can.
No, that's great that you guys are taking that upon yourselves to make sure that they feel recognized on some level, because they're seniors. They've worked 3+, almost 4 years to get themselves to a certain point, and now they kind of have
Yep.
this big letdown. And now have
Oh, yeah.
you noticed any type of, maybe, I don't want to go as far as to say depression or anything like that, but any kids that are dealing with some of the stressors that are associated with being socially isolated and not getting to see friends and participate in some of these normal senior activities?
Yeah, I mean, you hear of it a little bit. I tried to connect with as many. Like I said, the days that we delivered the signs, we actually, every kid knew something was coming that morning, and they didn't know it was necessarily Nikki and I, but so they came out and we talked to them, and the majority of athletes that we've been communicating with, through various methods. They seem like they're doing okay. I mean, they're adjusting as best they can. I mean, obviously they're disappointed and bummed out, and they should be. I mean, they deserve it. It's not what you planned for. I mean, I'm always one that always tries to turn it into some sort of positive for them and just say, listen, you survive this, you're going to survive anything. This is as a senior in high school and 16, 17, 18-year-old kids to be able to withstand this and come out, healthy, and your family's healthy, and you learn, unfortunately, at an early age how to handle adversity.
That's right.
But it's part of life.
That's right. Life certainly isn't fair. That's right.
We always say athletics. We try and teach some life lessons, extent of the classroom. I mean, sometimes they're not great, and this one sucks, but they're going to learn. And the other thing is you try and tell them all the time, you don't take anything for granted. Injuries happen in athletics, and you never know when your last play is, your last game is. Well, this is for real. This was, unfortunately for some of them, their last game and play. And is it how you wanted to end it? Did you work the way you wanted to work? And those kind of things that, they don't want to be harped on with lessons right now, but those are things that you can always talk about as we move forward.
Oh, that makes sense. How do you think that, so not even just say the seniors, but how maybe kids that are in their freshman, sophomore, junior years, how do you think that this maybe either hurts their development going into next season or their willingness to participate in athletics next season? Do you think that the gap in maybe spring maybe affects participation next year?
I don't think it's going to hurt participation. I actually think it'll go the other way, where people are going to be like, if they missed out or if they thought about maybe not playing, they're going to be like, what, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to do it, because you never know when something else may happen. But from a development standpoint, I guess the ones that are serious about their sport, they're working out on their own now. They're doing things. And I think, the fact that everybody is in the same boat, I know people talk about, does it affect your recruiting? Is it going to affect college? Everybody's in the same boat, so it's going to make the college, recruiting process a little bit more difficult for those guys because they don't have as many opportunities to see kids. But again, kids that had great freshman year, and this might have been their sophomore year. I think they'll still be in the same spot they were in. Everybody's still on an even playing field when it comes to that.
No, absolutely. There's not going to be an advantage from one school to another as far as that's concerned. So I
think the kids that might have been a tweener that maybe didn't have a great year as a junior and they're coming in senior year and really worked their butt off, it's going to hurt those people a little bit, obviously. But again, I think, colleges are going to look at, now you talk about, the whole ball of wax when you're an athlete. It's like, were you involved in clubs? Did you get good grades? All the other things that go along with the particular sport, they now are going to come into play.
Makes sense. Those are great answers. Thanks, Jeff. But talk to me about, while everything was going on in the beginning phases, the end of the winter season into the beginning of the spring sports season, there's the murmurs that school's going to get shut down, but talk to me about the conversations that you and other athletic directors are having behind the scenes to help kind of salvage a season. Like, were there any conversations about modified schedules, playoffs?
Yeah, that was the most challenging part. And again, you try and stay as positive as you can. You always, the message that we always sent out to the kids was going to be, it's not going to happen. We're going to get through this. We're going to have a season. Because again, you wanted the kids to still do their schoolwork, still be working out, stay mentally ready. I think if we dropped that ball on whatever it was, March 13th, some of them might have checked out a lot earlier than they would have, right. And or not done what they needed to do to kind of get through this mentally. We worked on, we reworked schedules. In the Mid-Watch League, we talked about playing a league schedule only, and we were prepared. We had that done. And then we actually had gone a step further in the Mid-Watch, the larger schools, A and B. As you know, we have the nice turf facilities with our baseball and now our softball field, which is unfortunately sitting idle there. So I had put together a plan and talked to a few ADs on the side and say, listen, if we can't have a season and we can get back to school, even if it was going to be June 1st, we'll find a way to do a jamboree or a weekend tournament. And, to the point where we started kind of mapping things out and saying, we do every school senior day on our field, and that way we can have good crowds. Unfortunately, none of that stuff came to fruition, but we were scratching and clawing, finding ways to make things work for the kids.
At least it gives you experience. Maybe next time something similar to like this happens, and you have an opportunity to save a season, so there won't be as much time spent speaking about it. You guys already have some type of semi kind of a plan already kind of put in place in these conversations you already had.
Absolutely, but listen, I'm an old dog. I don't know if I can go through one of these again.
I hope not at all either. I mean, this has been tough on tough on everybody. I mean, part of what I love doing, or what I really love doing, is coming to games, filming them, putting them into highlights, talking to kids. Like, so now, now I don't really get to do any of that kind of stuff, and I've been trying to work from home, and it's a totally different type of life to try to navigate, and it's not. I mean, at least for me, I don't mean to speak for everybody, but it just seems like it's so unfulfilling. Like, there's no real payoff right now. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than that.
Well, it's definitely that, and then like I said, you try and be positive, and I'm talking to kids, and you're trying to keep their spirits up, and on the other end, my spirits are down. You don't get to watch sports. Never mind, high school, there's no professional sports. I can't watch the '86 Celtics again and some of the old games, because it's like without all that stuff, it's changed the landscape of a lot of things right now. But again, and for me especially, it's like don't take things for granted. It's you. This is a great opportunity to kind of figure some things out and do some self-reflecting and all that nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's definitely giving everybody an opportunity to look at themselves and say, like, what do I really enjoy doing? Because for me, like you said, like if I'm not covering a game in the afternoon for high school, I'm watching a game that evening. It doesn't matter what time of year it is, whether it's football season, basketball and hockey, or baseball during the spring. Or in the summer. There's just always something. So for now not to have anything, it's so strange. It really is.
I know it is. It really is. I mean, same with me. I mean, I like to go out and I'll hit infield at a softball practice or a baseball practice just to get outside and kind of, brings you back to being a kid again, and you get to know the kids a little bit. And it's what I've been doing. It's what lured me to this job 10 years ago, and to be like, now I'm doing all this administrative stuff and still the AD work. I mean, we've got our fall schedules down. We're trying to finish our winter schedules now, and you're moving on as if nothing happened in the spring when you're like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So it's just a strange feeling. It's a strange feeling.
Now let's just assume, right? Let's assume that school does start on time in September. Now, do you anticipate things looking like they had before? Or are there going to be amendments? Are we going to be practicing social distancing in the stands? Are we going to have fans at all? Are people like me going to be allowed to come to the games? Like, how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I think the media will play a bigger role. I think we'll start seeing some streamed games and things like that. I think no matter what, it's going to look a little bit different. Locker rooms are going to look different. The National Federation of High School Sports schools put out kind of some guidelines on their phases to return. And, I mean, until there's a vaccine, things are going to have to look different. We've already been talking about, like, kind of things that we could do to eliminate, locker rooms and where the kids congregate and how they meet and try to maintain some sort of, limited contact, but you're still going to have contact. I mean, at some point, it's like they're going to be together. If you're together in school, you can be together on a bus or as a team. But, I think, parents got to be way more, diligent about knowing if your kid's not feeling well, they have to stay home. I mean, you think about how many times, some players play through things, and you've always preached, play through it. And now you got to be really smart about it. And my hope is that with us missing the season and everybody realizing, how critical and serious this is, that they would act the right way and make sure that they would do the right thing.
Yeah.
So I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah, at this point, everyone has to take it upon themselves as their civil liberty and the responsibility to everybody else to make sure they're doing the right thing as far as making sure they're staying away. Because we want to be able to get back to normal at some point, and if we don't do the right things initially, we could really put ourselves in a bad position going forward.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine not having a fall season. I mean, some of these, like you said, some of the kids that, they could be three-sport athletes, freshmen, sophomores, juniors that missed out on the spring, and now if the fall doesn't come to play, it's, keeping these kids motivated. And, we're a very, we're almost an inner-city school. Marlborough is a city, and, some of these kids need that social piece of being on a team, and, some of their role models are their coaches, and that's an important piece that's missing for some of these kids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I truly hope that we can get back to things at least as close to normal as possible, as soon as possible.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm with you. I am with you.
All right, Jeff. Hey, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, Matt, my pleasure, and, anything I can do to help, and I'm telling you, you're going to be more important next year, I got a feeling, because I think things are going to look a little different, and we're going to need, highlights, and we're going to need films, and, I don't know. The new norm is going to look a little different, hopefully not too different.
No, I hope not either, but I'll be there to help as much as I can.
All right, man, thank you. If I can do anything else, let me know.
I got you. Hey, take care, Jeff.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.